We have a quorum. Our task this morning is, oh boy, correct me if I'm wrong, but certainly continue our conversation about the FERC filing that the council has asked us to interpret, and then possibly write a letter of recommendation, I believe, to the council regarding, I think the first thing we have to do is regarding this merger between Northwest Energy and Black Hills Energy, and the possible ramifications from that. And then we can dive into the FERC filing either at this meeting or at a subsequent meeting. Am I good?
Yes.
I think
right?
that's fairly accurate.
Oh, goody. Hi, Julie. No worries.
Scraping snow and driving in slush.
Yeah.
What is the FERC filing refer to?
That's the one that was sent by Brad
The 90
Mueller and Randy, the 94-page
The 94-page
one
document.
that we were first initially looking at, and that's
Is it that-
regarding the coal strip,
and the rate of payment
and the
starting up-
potential for,
Yes, been resolved.
no, it hasn't been resolved. They just did the, from what I understand from the Billings Gazette, and I was telling these guys, and anybody else who read it on Tuesday, the day after our meeting,
Yeah.
they closed arguments, but the PSC is going to make a decision in the coming months. So that's what the Billings Gazette says.
About what?
About the,
And the merger.
About the merger with.
The merger or the-
So
The
they're
mer-
they're
the
two
mer-
different
they're two
things.
different things.
Combined, I
The
think.
merger and the FERC are two different.
They're
Right.
two different things.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's what I'm asking, what
Yeah.
are you talking about when you say FERC? So is that the conversation about Colstrip
Yes.
being given
Yes,
Puget Sound
yes.
3,
Yes,
and I think the 4 was a Vista or another company. And so one of them is about 307 megawatts of energy that was just handed over to them for free because the people that had it before,
They got
Couldn't
it for
use
it. Use
a
it
penny
anymore.
or something.
and how they're going to bill for that. How they're going to bill ratepayers and/or bigger companies that need.
potential
energy.
new businesses.
Yeah, that's a good
Potential
idea,
new
potential new businesses. So
But
that's what we're calling the
Today's
FERC filing.
special meeting is
Yes.
about the merger, because we needed to get a letter written and get it in the council packet, which goes out tomorrow for their meeting on Tuesday.
About the merger.
About the
And
merger.
I
if
just
we
want to
want
make sure
council to
we're
have a,
talking
Right.
about
Yeah.
the right thing today and not wasting our time.
But
We're never
according-
wasting our time.
According to Brad, FERC,
He came to the council talking about the rate.
right,
Mhm.
and that's.
And now we're assuming that we're talking about the merger. I mean, what did
Right.
Mayor Westwood request of you to request of the Sustainability
I thought we were
Board?
talking about rates too, but it seems like,
And I read over
It
his
seems it's a
letter.
cart and horse thing,
well,
you know? And correct me if I'm wrong, everybody, but it seems there's a cart and horse thing. I was under the understanding that the coal strip acquisition by Northwest Energy was a done deal.
I heard that as well.
So
Yes.
that's a done
Yeah,
deal.
that's
So
a done
that's
deal.
not on the table at all.
can't talk about that.
Um,
Because- okay,
But,
okay.
Or at least not in a way that would change anything.
right, right. But
We can talk.
But are their rates a done deal?
certainly not, certainly not.
But
um,
they've been given permission to use the tariff rate.
Yeah, oh, that was the,
Mhm.
to do market price
Like wholesale.
or to do, what was the other
So
term?
this is a thing from Brad.
Mhm.
Oh, maybe I wrote it down.
No. Greetings all, we did not know when FERC would rule and therefore close the door on public comment, they did it today.
Yeah,
So there's no need
Yeah,
to
they
go
did.
through the process, yeah. And I think that includes all of the tariff stuff and.
So they've made the decision already that they're gonna go with market rate payments, which means when there's a demand for more energy and they have to buy outside of what they can supply on themselves, they're gonna charge us market rates rather than rate-based. Was that the other
I mean,
name for
I
the?
guess they have the option. I'm confused on that.
And it sounds to me like the market rate is out of the control of our Public Service Commission to regulate.
It would definitely be out of their control, because it's market,
Seems like a
it's
bad
not,
idea to me.
you know, I'm confused about the tariff.
I don't know.
I don't know what
tariff
that-
is the right term.
I don't remember hearing tariff rate. I don't, and if I did, I just,
So I have his letter here
Yeah,
somewhere,
let's work on the letter.
page 15 it was. And I listened to maybe the recording of the council meeting where Brad presented, and the upshot was they wanted us to consider. So this is just an example of a letter that Commissioner Molnar presented and asked that the council
Adopt or send
Yeah.
or whatever.
send it, yeah. So Honorable Laura V. Sweet, I'm not sure how she's the chairman of the Federal Emergency Regulatory Commission. Dear Chairman Sweat,
It should be
The one
energy,
you sent us.
Excuse me?
not energy, not emergency.
Yeah, federal
the
energy.
Federal Energy, did I say Emergency Regulatory Commission, it's right here in front of my face, I read it wrong. Dear Chairman and Commissioners, and he names the commissioners of FERC. The Red Lodge City Council represents, so this is Brad Molnar's words of what the council should say. Red Lodge City Council represents a unique population, all of which are northwestern energy consumers. Being a mountain town, we host a renowned ski area. Like many mountain towns boasting a high quality of living, we have wealthy residents, some of which are full-time residents and some which are of the snowbird variety. Most of our residents work regular jobs and many work in the tourist industry at lower income jobs. Our growth is dynamic and our energy consumption will continue to increase along with the rest of Montana. With this backdrop of an illiquid energy market, I'm not exactly sure what he means by that, but, and stretched capacity of rate-based energy, because of this, we are experiencing double-digit rate increases every few years. This is the letter you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With great concern,
Yeah.
we learned of Northwest Energy's move to change the I'm dyslexic with 3s and 7s. The 370 megawatts of generation received at no cost from Puget Sound and Energy from rate-based to, so I want to change it from a rate-based fees to market-based. Oh, and that's where it says
that's where the
cost-based
cost-based
tariff.
tariff.
So
Okay.
a market
Another word
based
for it.
is another name for cost-based tariff. Removing this resource from the control of the Montana Public Service Commission and in service to all of Northwest Energy customers to benefit just a few customers is counterintuitive, especially since as our default supplier, Northwest Energy's only obligation is to serve their captive consumers, which we are, captive customers. Commissioners, except for a few moderate days in late spring and early fall, we are often energy deficient and must go to the market to balance our energy consumption and generation. The rate basing the 370 megawatts mentioned would not only take us out of an illiquid energy market, thus providing relief to a stressed grid, but also provide a capacity for economic growth to all, not just a few or one data center. Yes, even the new large load customers would benefit from rate basing this resource, as indicated in Northwest Energy's recent large load tariff filing with with the Public Service Commission. Thank you for your consideration of this vital issue. We ask that you reconsider not only your determination that Northwest Energy could avoid scrutiny by upholding a determination that the capacity to generate 370 megawatts in an energy deficient circumstance is of zero value, but also that, and that's all they put in the packet. They cut it off. Do you have more?
Okay. And that we asked, do you recognize the generation in question for greater good when it serves all equally and maintains a rate-based status as it was originally transferred, AKA fair play? So that's what
And I
has
found
been
it
determined.
confusing just to read this myself, so for you to listen to me reading it, it's probably even harder to understand. But,
Confusing.
So the main
Okay.
ask was for the council to say, hey, we would prefer you keep it rate-based versus market
yeah.
rate.
And
So the tariff comes in between the rate-based and the market.
No, the tariff
Is
means
market-based.
market-based.
It's parenthetically.
That sounds like they're synonymous.
Yeah,
Okay.
Same thing, okay.
but that is no
According
longer on the
to
table for
Brad
comments.
Molnar's letter.
Yeah.
And I've tried to kind of find more information on rates, and I found a lot of other stuff, but not,
Yeah.
there's a lot going on.
The Gazette referred to the large load tariff filing, but I couldn't quite make sense of that either. But really, the issue right now that we can comment on seems to be the merger.
Yeah.
Well, she said they finished the hearing yesterday. I
Well,
mean,
that's on this, but
There's-
not the merger.
The PSC has not made it, the hearing was for the merger,
correct?
Oh,
as far as I can tell. And that's what the PSC is going to make a decision on, whether to
Yeah.
merge with.
right.
And FERC has not made their decision, or they have?
FERC has made a decision.
Well,
Okay.
have they? Because it does need to be Northwest Energy, Montana, Nebraska, South Dakota, FERC, and the PSC, I think, all need to decide to allow this merger to happen.
The merger, okay, but that, the FERC thing, as I understood from Brad, PSC gave it to FERC,
That's what I understood too.
out of their hands, gave it
About
to
the
FERC.
rates.
And he was asking for a rehearing, I believe, he and another commissioner.
Mhm.
Yeah, even though that was a typo, I think that's what he meant.
Yeah, against the wishes of the rest of the commissioners,
Right.
who didn't want that to happen. So they were hoping for a rehearing, I think, is that what he asked the council to comment on, to go to FERC
I
for a rehearing?
think that's accurate, but
I
it's,
think so. And they heard and they decided on the Colstrip.
So as far as I can tell, we have three issues here to deal with, or not deal with.
or not.
One is the Colstrip issue with the FERC filing and, the rehearing for, and I'm not sure what the rehearing is for, other than,
Rates, I believe.
is that rates?
I think it's the whole deal,
Those-
the whole sale from Puget Sound.
Yeah, the wholesale.
That was
Mhm.
not a sale, though, that was a gift.
Acquisition or.
Well, they have to sell it, even if they sell it for a penny.
I
It's
think
still
they
a
sold it
sale.
for a
But they're
penny.
selling it for zero, it says.
No, I think they sold it for a penny.
I think they have to sell it for something.
Yeah.
You would think so.
There's
There's a lot going on here that I have no idea how it works, so.
Okay, and
Yeah, I
then
don't
the
know
second
how they
issue is
interact.
rate-based versus market-based, and the third issue is this merger. And I don't know where council would like us to make a recommendation, Jeremy, help out, and maybe on all three things, you know?
Maybe on all three things, yeah.
You know, we can say we've looked at these, we understand 40%.
Yeah, it's really we only want to ask them to, support something we probably do understand, because they came and asked us.
Well, and we're advocating for our citizens and the consumers.
Right.
So, and not for larger businesses. And we don't even have to mention data centers, I don't think. We
Not
can,
necessarily.
Well, it
we
depends
can-
which topic we're gonna,
Yeah, and
out of
how
all three of those,
we can-
one of them will include data center probably.
well, potential large businesses, potential future businesses,
Mhm.
Right.
which a data center would be.
large consumers.
Large,
Yeah.
Potential
extremely large consumers.
And I feel like from a sustainability aspect, it would probably be good of us to try to inform the council about things that will be affecting all citizens and try to learn how we learn the best we can what those outcomes may be.
Well, maybe what we should do is take a paragraph and summarize these issues, each issue, and, as best we know, and then, in conclusion, make, a recommendation to council and say we will continue to,
So they will either need to send this letter to the Public Service Commission or FERC, if you want to do the FERC thing. But I think that's done, so I don't think that makes
well, I
sense.
think the council at this point would probably take a look at this and maybe, at some point, make a resolution, probably a resolution,
Mhm.
and make a statement as to, where the council stands. Am I right?
Yeah, there's, I was,
Okay.
I was talking with Jen about this with, you know, just how council can write and comment. So it could be just a letter that all the council members sign.
Sure.
We could do it that way. It could take the form of a resolution that says we support, and then the attachment is the letter. It could be that. It could be something that we discuss at council, and then all sign, and then, and/or do the, like, I don't think that a resolution is necessary, but it could be part of it.
So they
Okay.
could do a letter without a
That's-
resolution.
It's pretty open-ended, and
Okay.
really, in my mind, this is just something we maybe want to just keep on the radar. So if there is something that we want to make an ask, like, for example, the merger, and I did see ABC Montana said that there's another hearing on June 5th, and the
Oh,
commissioners
right, yes.
are expected to hear more arguments there.
Okay.
So there might still be
Oh,
relevant comment
Yeah,
time.
yeah, okay.
So
On that issue, we
on the
don't-
merger specifically,
Yeah.
we might be able to, you know,
Yeah.
make a comment within a relevant period. So,
Mhm.
so that would be like the most time-sensitive topic, I suppose. And then going forward, just keeping our eyes open for those windows of comment period, and whether we want to say, as a council, that, you know, our community wants you to consider X, Y, Z.
Yeah,
So,
okay. So this will be a introductory step sort of to council, that this is an
Absolutely.
issue
yeah.
that's going to be coming up.
Mhm.
So Brad has submitted that 94-page document to FERC.
I don't know. I think that was his record of, all the communication and things that he's had with FERC, with DOR.
And he's just asking for communities to
Yeah.
support what he's already
Yep.
presented.
Yes, that's
Okay.
my understanding.
I kind of reviewed that this morning to figure out, and I couldn't find, I thought the 94-page was on there somewhere, that I kind of, on the city website, but I thought, I'm not gonna read all that, and I kind of ignored it, now I can't find it, so.
It was attached to an email from Corey.
yeah. That came
We
from the
still
mayor.
have.
So the 94
It was an
pages.
email. It's not on the city website. I don't know, it may be.
Oh.
I didn't look there.
I think I got it forwarded from you at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
And listening back to the recording of the council meeting where Brad Molnar presented, I kind of got the impression that those 94 pages were his documentation of why he feels that.
Okay.
But was that submitted to anyone?
Was it submitted to council?
To
I-
FERC? Was it
Oh,
submitted?
I don't know
I don't know what he
No.
did with that,
Yeah.
to tell you the truth.
His comments were, to the council were also included in the 94 pages
Oh, okay.
that he read to the council, so.
And the 94 pages was, given to them, and I don't know if it'll be in next.
Well, it says, United States of America before FERC, this is the 94-page
Oh, is that
document.
94? I don't-
Yeah,
I didn't.
a request for rehearing on behalf of Northwestern Energy's captive Montana customers as represented by Montanans Independent Public Service Commissioners. So this is his rehearing submission, the 94 pages, and it did go to FERC.
Okay. Which would make
I
sense.
guess.
That's who he's
Yeah, right,
wanting to,
right.
I don't know if appeal is the right word, but he wants them to consider.
Um,
One random thing I want to tell you that I found was that, and I think it was on the Montana Renewable Energy Association website.
Yeah.
Missoula County and Bozeman, I believe, was with them, intervened to get assurance that the Regulatory Commission do not delay their green power program. And my impression was that Missoula feels like it's going to happen, this merger will happen, and they're trying to get some leverage to accomplish things they want to get done in their region. And apparently this green power program has been something they've been trying to work on for a little while. And so they want to try and put that into this to assure that they're going to get access to being able to link their green, which is, I guess the only reason I bring it up is it's something to think about. Are there wants that we might have for our community that would be appropriate to bring up at this time? Or for our whole state, like the ability to have alternative energies, because it seems like that's
Yes.
somewhat restricted because of the power that our energy company has. And it's going to get more powerful if the merger happens.
And using the grid, being a part of the grid,
Yeah. They could,
not, being able to feed into it, that this merger won't prevent us. I'm confused, but,
but I think you make a good point.
that's always been sort of like, it's our grid. And whose grid is it,
Well, I kind of-
Who's gonna own the grid?
Getting the sense that it belongs to this company. It's a profit company. It's not, PSC is public service, but they don't own any of these. They're not producing the energy. They didn't build I don't know who built the grid initially, but now it's owned by this company that's there to make money.
Well, the whole system is messed up now because it's no longer a public utility.
Yeah.
And so customers ought to be able to choose, based on rates, I think, who they go with, which we're not allowed to do, because when we had a public utility, the rates were regulated, but they really aren't anymore.
That was
And
a
so-
sad day.
And we don't have a choice. If I want to do.
That's what I'm saying, we need to have a choice,
Yeah.
but we don't, because now it's a private company.
And also because there's nobody else out there.
Well, Beartooth Electric
Beartooth
is out
Electric.
there.
But could I,
They do a nice job.
No, right now you can't.
yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, you
Okay.
could, we should be allowed to do that, to
And the
choose.
only reason I can't is because of legislation or, in theory, they could supply it to my house through the grid that I'm connected to.
I
don't know
guess.
about that.
But they're
I don't
not
know.
allowed
I'm
to.
not sure.
They have an interesting map, Beartooth Electric, and they're all around us, but
All
not
around,
in town,
Even
yeah.
into Wyoming.
Mhm.
Well, another concern is our Public Service Commission is not serving the public right now. So, that can change with, new commissioners, but,
Okay, guys,
Well, and
I've started
so we
here.
need to-
Thank you.
I've started here, we need some bullets. To city council members, I've just said the Sustainability Board has examined the materials available regarding Brad Molnar's request for a rehearing before FERC, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. We're still trying to understand, or something, some sort of disclaimer there and think. But we would like to, have the council be aware of the following points. How's something like that?
That's good.
Okay.
Very good.
So Steve's comments are primarily about data centers. and the merger.
Right.
Yep.
So do we wanna,
So,
Let's do the three, you know, we've got, can we do a little summary of FERC filing and Colstrip is a done deal?
yeah.
Number
Um,
2 would be rate-based versus market-based setting, and then number 3 would be the merger of Northwest Energy with Black Hills. Just sort of give a little summary of what they are, now that we know. And then move on from there, saying we would like to keep our rates, well, we'd like to be able to have the opportunity to customers to make a choice about energy.
So what would you like to say after I
That
just
was
said,
sort
we're
of a
just trying to
tangent.
examine the materials available regarding the request with FERC? What do we want to say about FERC, just in a 20 words or less? What do we want to say about this issue?
About the rehearing.
Yeah.
has that happened?
Yes, and they said no,
Okay.
No rehearing.
no rehearing. I think that's what he
Sure
meant
about
by.
You could say something like, should the question of, what was the term? Market rate. There's market rate and what was the other one?
Market rate and
Cost of.
Tariff,
No,
rate-based and
Rate-based.
market-based.
rate base.
Rate-based, right. Should the issue of rate-based versus market-based,
be addressed.
be addressed in the
Yeah.
future, then we would, recommend that council support the rate-based.
Rate-based.
Going-
Rather
and
than
I'm
the
not-
uncertainty, the market-based would be volatile,
Market-based.
uncertain, and most likely be going up rather than going down.
Yeah.
And supporting large consumers.
Okay, so the issue of rate-based versus market-based issue
Be
be,
revisited.
Reheard, or if
Reheard.
comment is reopened or whatever. Something like that.
And it may come up in the future in different places too.
well, I don't want to say reopened, I think it should be,
Revisited.
I don't know if it's even been decided,
I'm not
Should be
sure either.
visited then,
so
I thought it
But I don't
should
know.
be addressed.
addressed.
Yes, sure.
Readdressed?
And,
In the future?
this board, oops, bad. Board,
Or even should a relevant comment period present itself. Something like that.
good idea,
Think if we were doing this on a typewriter, man.
Right.
And that's before the erasable
I know.
IBM Selectric.
I know. That's electric, I love that one.
Wasn't it wonderful?
It was.
okay. This board would recommend that council
Support rate base.
It is a good argument. I mean, they're getting this energy for free, and then they want to charge us.
rate-based, what is this, a system, rate-based
Pricing, maybe.
pricing? Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Okay,
Bills.
In other words, that just bypasses the PSC, right? If they can just, charge us market-based rates, because, well,
It kind
Right.
of does, yeah, because then they'll just say, well,
yeah, we had to match.
wherever they're
Yeah.
paying
We set our rates, but they get to.
$150 a, whatever, we don't,
Right.
kilowatt.
Because the data center called for more energy. No.
There's a high demand.
Right.
So they're going up. And you guys are held captive.
okay, this protects the citizens from,
Exorbitant.
Volatile.
Volatile.
Or, yeah,
Yeah.
volatile, unpredictable cost.
Expensive.
And if you wanted, you could quote this little thing from the Public Service Commission, that says, it would ensure that ratepayers have continued access to utility services that are affordable, reliable, and sustainable for the long term. which is from their little mission statement.
Uh,
Huh.
Definitely.
Okay, say it again. I love that.
Slowly.
It will ensure that ratepayers have continued access to utility services that are affordable, reliable, and sustainable for the long term.
There is a documentary on PBS, Montana PBS, about Montana Public Service going out and as a public utility, and I missed it when
That might
they
be worth
showed it
watching.
a couple of years ago, but I'm sure you could find it on their website.
Be good to find it.
Yep, I need to go back and
Put down,
and do that.
if you want more information, watch this.
Right.
Okay, so we've got the first bulletin. Anything else?
And that's for the
Rate.
The rate pay, okay.
And the FERC issue,
Okay.
yeah. And there's also the option that you guys can just say, we don't know enough yet, but might have a recommendation in the
that's why we
future.
wanted
Like, you can
to-
kick it back as well, it's not like.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we
required.
wanted to meet today, so that we could provide something to council for this upcoming meeting on
Yep.
Tuesday. right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
'Cause we thought-
so that's the rate paying. Do we wanna say anything about the merger? Do we wanna
I
say
think the
anything?
merger is important because that,
Mhm.
it
It hasn't been decided.
We
That
know
was
that's
more
happening.
active right now.
that's happening now,
Mhm.
yeah.
Do you want to
A comment could be.
There's potentially a
Well-
window, yeah.
Steve had a good, the merger will reduce representation for Northwest Energy ratepayers because Black Hills Energy will hold 56% voting control in the new company.
So it's taking out of Montanans' hands. which is
Right.
pertinent to
And out of the
Hill.
PSC's hands.
Yeah.
Well, I
They're
was
not gonna be
listening to
able
one of the
vote on
hearings,
it.
which I only listened to a portion of it, 'cause it's like a 6-hour long, and that was just one of them. There were 3.
Oh, my God.
And Mr. Smith, who I'm not 100% clear who he is, he was being, like, cross-examined by, Monica Trinnell, who is representing,
The PSC? No.
no, I think she's representing a kind of an environmental agency,
Yeah.
a citizens group of some sort. And he claims that Montana, or that essentially Montana will still have control over Montana.
Mhm.
But at the same time, there's a lot of things that aren't going to really be ironed out until after the merger is, his words were consummated, the final consummation of this merger, and then they'll figure out other details. So they say certain things, but is that how it's really gonna?
Yeah, the
fall?
instability of the whole situation, the volatility. You know, they've got to absorb some of the cost, I'm sorry. You know,
Well, I
if
feel like
if prices spike, they can't charge, they shouldn't be allowed to charge us.
And if there's a large, or a large business user, they should
Identified
pay
large.
more for their,
Nobody wants to have a cost of doing business anymore. They want to pass everything on to the consumer.
and they're the ones that are making millions of dollars off of it.
Exactly.
Well, and the fundamental issue is that these large consumers are altering the market, increasing demand, which
Yeah.
cannot but increase prices, right?
Who gets the
And by
energy?
such a
Yeah.
crazy percentage, so it's,
Mhm.
yeah. it's hard
And
to
I feel
get
like the whole
around it.
thing is moving pretty quickly.
They've been talking about this merger for a while.
But I guess I mean the growth of AI.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Data
these
center
large
thing, That's,
user
right, it's the,
kind of exploding.
it's the new
Yeah.
stuff. You know, we've had data centers for a long time. They just weren't big. Like you had a data center in your office probably,
Mhm.
you know, where all the servers were and all of that stuff. That's a data center, for your small group, I guess.
And do we really need to save all this data?
I know, it's like,
Do
why
we
are,
really
why are
need these
cleaning the
AI
house?
generated
Why are
messages?
you saving all my text messages? They're text messages. Quit saving them, you know?
Who's
It's
gonna
like,
write my essay? It's not for AI.
Sorry, you're gonna have to do it yourself.
Yeah, what a shame.
You'll have to remember on your own.
And I think Corey made a good point the other day, that there are uses for it, it's here,
Mm-hmm.
but on how big of a scale does it need to?
I don't care if they're here, I just want them to pay for themselves. I don't want to pay for them.
Yeah.
That's all.
Which I suspect if they end up having to pay for all that, that we'll be charged to use it.
Well, so be it.
Yeah, yeah.
So be it.
we
It's
can
a business,
choose
we can choose
it
to
or
use AI or not.
not. Yeah,
Right now, it's just available.
it's kind of being forced down our throats right now.
Right. Okay, let's,
So
okay, I've
we are
got,
on the- How are we, segueing from the rate base to the merger?
all I did was do another, bullet point.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be.
And I
Because you
said a
said
merger
these three
between
things,
Northwest
right?
Energy and Black Hills Energy will reduce representation for Northwest Energy ratepayers, as Black Hills Energy will hold 56% voting control in the new company, already named Bright Horizons.
Mhm. Good,
Right,
okay.
right. They're already moving ahead like they did with the natural gas
Mhm.
plant in Laurel.
I mean, of course, they
Um,
wouldn't name it Dark Horizon.
Bright Horizons Energy Corporation.
I think we need to say something about the large consumer.
I think we do too. I think,
That
It is
there's
linked
something
to
about.
it's the elephant in the room,
Mhm.
is what it is.
Well, and then, you know, instead of allowing them to do solar or wind to power the data center, they want to keep them on the grid, you know, so they can make money.
Okay, let's
Mm.
see.
They want a
There's something-
reliable
There is,
source, whereas
Something good about that.
solar and wind and such are not
Well,
reliable.
the data centers would have to have batteries to store power, certainly.
Yeah.
And maybe still be grid tied when, you know, something unexpected happens, so
That's
they
probably
don't
where they'll go
completely go
because it'll be
down,
cheaper.
but I don't know.
I've heard
Well,
talk that some large data centers are considering creating their own energy sources,
Uh-huh.
like nuclear, for
Somebody's
example,
doing that in Texas.
on their
yeah.
own property.
Mhm.
Of course, in Texas.
Could be
Yeah.
wind, could be solar, whatever they.
Um,
Texas.
Let's, yeah, let's,
Here, let's see.
let's talk about,
Find some more bullets on
The
the
third one.
merger, on the merger. Look.
the purpose of the merger. What is the purpose, the,
Yeah, I see, it's some good close look there.
Well, I think
there's
they're.
not much, there's been, a lack of transparency
Mhm.
as to the purpose of this merger, as to the,
Right.
One to the,
as to the benefit for ratepayers.
yeah, exactly.
Okay,
The specific benefits to ratepayers
ratepayers.
remain unclear.
I like that, because it's not even transparency, it's no commitment to ratepayers.
Yep, I
So-
like that too.
So
If
far.
it goes through, we'll be included in a company that serves over 2 million people, is
Right.
that right?
I believe that's
Right.
number 8 states.
Right,
And all of those
and-
people combined will probably use less electricity than those data centers, so.
Yeah, probably. Oh,
Yeah, I know, yeah.
then the data centers.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause we're, what is it, 400,000 in Montana for Northwestern, and they've got 1.8 million already, Black
People in
Hills,
there.
Black Hills, yeah. So that's a lot of customers to, pay attention to. Not just the ones with money.
On the Public Service Commission seat at the table will just be a smaller seat
Diminished.
at a bigger table.
Diminished,
Yeah.
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 Oh, I love that wrap-up,
I don't see how it could be, you know,
No.
really.
Mhm.
public service.
Diminished.
Say that again, Jeremy?
Public Service Commission would have a smaller seat at a larger table, something like that. Like, that's just how it's.
Or would they
gonna be.
even still have a seat at the table?
Yeah.
Another question.
Good
Have a
question,
seat.
yeah, will they? Eventually, maybe not.
Their ability to actually regulate our rates.
Mm.
I don't know. Seems like that would be tougher under,
Right.
It will be tougher
Which will
because
make
Black
it
Hills
more
will have the
difficult
larger
for us
voting.
to
uh,
Have a say.
Mhm.
We lose our
I
voice.
can't find that article, now, there's a really good article with good points, but
From the
That's,
Montana Environmental.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Hedges.
Yeah, it's there, you gotta look.
Yeah,
I saw it this
mean, I
morning.
can't.
Okay.
I
It's
can-
an email
I'll
from
find the
you.
link. I'll follow my link.
Oh, wait, let's see.
I
Northern
wrote
Plains is
what,
doing a lot
what
too.
Hope and Steve Smith said, I've got it here.
Oh, right.
The Montana PSC has an ongoing contested docket, and then she gives the number in parentheses, on whether to approve the application for the merger. Speak up. Here's how to comment.
Yep.
Is that docket number
Oh, yeah.
2025 10.078?
Mhm.
Correct.
Yep.
2025.10.07.
Well, this is on Montana Environmental.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
on, that was
Yeah.
in, the,
Data centers, big tech hits
Montana
the boom, we get the
newspaper,
bus.
Free Montana or something, whatever it is, I can't
Yeah,
remember.
one in Billings.
I've got, there has been a lack of transparency outlining any benefits of the merger for rate-paying customers between Northwest Energy and Black Hills Energy. We should say something at this point, that might be a good segue into, there has been recorded conversations or something about, conversations regarding potential new businesses, or with something.
Could I
Well, I think that's,
ask you
it's
to
pretty
add something to your
blatant.
last sentence about
Sure.
lack of transparency? I'd like to have the word
I like
commitment, or
that,
what word
too.
did you use?
Commitment is a good one.
To ratepayers.
Yeah,
Res-
yeah.
What
Sure,
ratepayers,
yeah.
you'd have to read it again for me.
There has been a lack of transparency outlining any benefits of
Or
the merger.
commitment
Or-
for,
Benefits / commitments?
to ratepayers. So just, what I'm trying to
Yeah, I
say
like
is that
commitments too, that's a good one.
they're not giving us any solid, like, okay, we promise ratepayers will never have to pay
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
2% or what.
Mhm.
You could just say, and commitment to affordability, reliability, and sustainability, like their mission says.
Mhm.
There's no clear benefit to ratepayers and no
And
clear
they're
commitment.
talking 14 data centers in Montana.
Part of which I've heard is just our climate, like, it's cheaper for them to cool it, just because
Oh.
it's less heat,
Which may not be true.
which may not be true, right?
Exactly.
Increasingly, that's, yeah.
They're contributing to it.
Right.
I feel like Montana's being exploited.
Well, that's what it's about. It's a big
As
empty
other
state
states
and
probably are too, but I feel like Montana has
all this
an excessivity in other ways too in the last
Coal
few
and-
years.
space and coal and.
How do you spell commitments?
COMMIT,
Just one T?
MENTS. Mhm.
Okay.
I just have trouble with that word too.
Okay, got it. There has been a lack of transparency outlining any benefits / commitments of affordability or sustainability of the merger for rate-paying consumers between Northwest Energy and Black Hills Energy. Does that make sense? Too much
Long,
information,
but-
it's too much
You
information.
might chop it into 2 sentences.
Yeah.
even, but got it all in there.
We know what you mean, but it might be,
Yeah.
just someone else
Yeah,
might have to read
a
it
little
twice.
sensors are better, okay.
To summarize, we think this is a very bad idea.
Put it simply.
Let's just make this simple.
A
We think we're
boondoggle.
going to get screwed again.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, and something for future meetings, you might come up with some language around what you would think, like, if data centers are inevitable, what would a good structure look like?
Mm-hmm.
Like, would they have that vertically integrated model where they produce their own power,
Mhm.
ideally through non-fossil fuels?
Well, recapturing
That
heat,
kind of
for
stuff.
one thing, you know.
Yeah, the closed loop, non-using our
Heat
water.
pumps or
Yep.
whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't even heard if there are any regulations on how these centers have to be built. They're just
Right,
doing what they want
Not
to
in
do.
Montana.
Well, I read that the Fergus County Commissioners, there was a meeting in Lewistown, and people are upset. There were a lot of people attending the room was packed, and so the commissioners were writing a letter to the PSC
Oh, good.
about the data center that's proposed, and is it not Broadus, but,
Broadview.
Broadview.
Oh, by buildings, yeah.
So,
And I think some,
Be interesting to see their letter.
yeah,
Yeah.
it ought to be posted somewhere, shouldn't it?
I
That was
think
Fergus
someplace
County?
are
Fergus County.
trying to
yeah.
put temporary bans, at least let's slow this down to we know what's going on. So
Exactly.
some areas I
Well,
think
that's the
ideal
whole thing
now.
with
2-year
robots
ban or
and
something.
everything, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, slow it down.
Time to think.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
There has been a lack of transparency outlining any benefits / commitments of affordability or sustainability of the above merger. Rate-paying captive customers like the citizens in Red Lodge,
For example.
No,
Mhm.
let's see,
help me with the rest of it.
let's see.
Are vulnerable to increases
To,
beyond their
Unknown
control.
increases or unregulated increases?
not unregulated, 'cause
Market-based,
Oh, vulnerable
to the
to market
vagaries of
rate.
the energy market.
Something about sharing the load with,
Mm.
Are
Yeah,
vulnerable
with
to
corporate, yeah, with corporate.
energy market
Yeah.
volatility.
Yes, which it is volatile. Always has been. But it was regulated,
okay.
just like AT&T with the telephones, you know? They were regulated for years.
Okay, there has to be, now we have to say
Okay.
something about larger businesses, or data centers, or something.
yeah, we do. We do
Corporate
need to say
entities.
how that's going to skew the market.
14, there's
Um,
gonna be 14 proposed data centers,
Not necessarily, are they in Montana, or are
Yep,
they in,
14 in Montana.
in Montana,
Is
or
there-
in that energy, or in that eight state
No,
area?
according to Stephen Hope, it's 14 in Montana.
We need to,
And
I
I
heard
check the
11
facts there.
in
think
Montana, read of 11 in Montana.
that's
Good
also
question.
what the MEIC said. Let's see.
Is there a public internet in this building?
yeah,
Yes.
you have to get on their website.
It's,
Yeah, well, yeah, if you want, unless you use unlimited data,
COR guest,
yeah.
and then I can give you the password.
COR.
If you look
The
in the
mega
settings.
monopoly merger is all about data centers.
And
I gotta
refuse to be
find
transparent about
Yeah,
plans to
I
serve
see.
data centers.
I can't get on their website if I don't have their.
I have the password somewhere. Where is it? There we go.
States around the country are taking action to prevent unregulated data centers.
COR, okay, found that.
It's all weird. Capital R.
Western Black Hills refuse to be transparent about their plans to serve data centers or disclose how that impact Montanans who have already seen a nearly 40% increase in electric rates.
I think this is a 0, actually.
They have touted 14 proposed data centers during investor calls
Oh, that's a
in 2026. Northwest Energy has refused to provide public details regarding merger plans and data center development. They have touted 14 proposed data centers during investor calls.
There's more investors that join, because they're making it an appealing opportunity. What'll happen to our utilities? I don't think anybody
Talk about the
knows.
new utilities data center agreements that are likely to make utility shareholders at our expense.
Yeah, 14 proposed data center projects that Northwestern mentioned on an investor call earlier this year. I'm assuming that's in Montana. 14.
I read
Wyoming and
a
Nebraska.
different, I watched YouTube. The United States has the most data centers in the world, and Northern Virginia has the most in this country.
Apparently, there was
Really?
just like, they're
Well,
like
that's where-
row after, building
Close to
after
DC.
building after building after
Yeah.
building.
Northern Virginia?
Yeah.
Well, that's,
Well,
where,
that's
like,
near
the,
Washington, that's sort of
yeah, all
Washington.
all the government stuff is
Oh, yeah, yeah.
there.
Okay, I have
All the
emerging,
stuff that's recording.
I have emerging data centers which require an exorbitant amount of energy as well as water are clearly on the table with this merger.
Yep,
Perfect.
Oh,
that's fine.
great.
Put it out there.
I think we do.
I don't think we need to say anything else.
Okay,
I don't think so.
so read the whole thing to us again.
Okay. To city council members. The Sustainability Board has examined the materials available regarding Brad Molnar's request for a rehearing before FERC, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. I better put the.
And I think you should say the City of Red Lodge Sustainability Board, just to
Yeah.
be formal.
Yep.
We are an ad hoc group, but.
Thank you. The City of Red Lodge Sustainability Board has examined the materials available regarding Brad Molnar's request for a hearing before FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission.
Rehearing.
A rehearing, yes, I've got rehearing.
Okay.
Thanks. We're still trying to comprehend this complicated issue, but we'd like to suggest the following. Should the issue of rate-based versus market-based should the issue of rate-based versus market-based issue, I don't want issue
Rate.
twice.
Market-based rate issue, or,
For the issue
Well,
of rate-based versus market-based rates.
You could get rid of the first issue, probably.
Well,
Like,
it was the question, should this come up in the future, right?
How about this? Should the
Yeah.
issue of rate-based
there we go.
versus market-based rates be addressed in a relevant comment period, this board would recommend that council support rate-based pricing. This protects the citizens from volatile, unpredictable rates arising. This ensures that ratepayers have access to utility services that are affordable, reliable, and sustainable for the long term. Bullet. Merger between Northwest Energy and Black Hills Energy will reduce representation for Northwest Energy ratepayers, as Black Hills Energy will hold 56% voting control in the new company, already named Bright Horizons. Bullet, there has been a lack of transparency outlining any benefits/commitments of affordability or sustainability of the above merger. Rate-paying captive customers, like the citizens in Red Lodge, are vulnerable to energy market volatility. Bullet, emerging data centers which require an exorbitant amount of energy as well as water are clearly on the table with this merger.
In the bullet before, should we say something about,
Mm-hmm.
that would be created by the merger, come down to, okay, lack of transparency.
Feel free to type.
Rate paying, that would be, rate paying captive customers, vulnerable to energy market volatility. Could be vulnerable to energy market volatility. So they're clear that that's caused by the merger. We think that could be caused by the merger,
And you could say,
because it's a separate bullet.
you could say something about how in the data center one, where data centers, as these data centers increase demand,
Yeah.
our ratepayers will be vulnerable to necessary rate increases or something like that.
I have a thought. So when demand becomes higher than what, I guess, Colstrip can produce, these companies will go outside and buy energy on the market.
If it's
And
available, hopefully,
their
otherwise brownouts.
argument
Yeah.
is they should be able to pass that on to us, which I consider that to be a cost of doing business. And they shouldn't be allowed to pass that on to us.
And that kind of explains to council what rate-based versus market-based
Mm-hmm.
is, because
Okay, I just have emerging data centers which require an exorbitant amount of energy as well as water are clearly on the table with this merger. As these data centers emerge and multiply, help. Who is
Well,
going to,
demand.
Just as the data centers,
Market demand necessarily.
you know,
increase.
require more energy, or
Demand
increase
will
energy demand, increase energy
Increases
demand.
energy demand.
Yeah.
affecting long-term financial obligations and leaving ratepayers liable.
energy, as these data centers convert, emerging ones, energy costs, tell me what you had?
Affecting long-term financial obligations and leaving ratepayers liable. That's viability of AI.
Start your sentence again.
Okay.
As these data centers emerge and multiply, energy costs will
energy demands,
Energy
Energy
demand.
demands will increase,
undoubtedly,
yeah.
Affecting long-term
With
financial
the,
obligations.
I don't know how to spell. Will undoubtedly, energy demands will undoubtedly increase as well.
increase,
Yeah.
doesn't the demand increase,
They'll just
create
increase.
a rate increase?
Which will drive rates higher.
Yeah, which will drive rates higher.
See, and because they're investor-based, they don't want to lose any money.
Right.
So they don't have a cost of doing
Right.
business
Will
anymore.
drive,
Well, and the businesses
Yeah.
are totally fine with higher rates. They want higher rates.
right.
Like,
Mhm.
the Public Service Commission is supposed to be advocating on our behalf,
Right.
so they don't do that.
As investor-based for-profit businesses, I don't know if we're,
Something
And we
about
might
their
not
bottom
need to even
line.
say that, we just say, as energy
or we could say,
demands increase. the
who's
rates will-
paying for those?
But
Who's
the
paying for
question is,
Well, the point I
we
want
have
to
no
make
certainty that we won't be paying
is
for it.
that, Montana can produce so much energy, especially as long as they're using fossil fuel, that's a finite amount. And when all that is needed to supply the demand, and they need more, they're gonna buy it outside of our little bubble, and who knows how much that's gonna cost, and it could be a lot.
But they should, that's a cost of doing business. They
I
should
think
not
that's
be
why they're
allowed to
increasing the
pass that
bubble
on
so
to
wide-
us.
So widely,
I don't think.
and why they want Montana.
Yeah, and Colstrip now has almost 500 megawatts of energy that's not really slated for anything at the moment.
Because it was going to
370.
Washington and Oregon, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Now it's not.
yeah. And now it could be reducing our rates, but I don't think it's going to.
Right.
Right. Well, that's Brad's point. He's like, if they got this for free, they didn't have to buy it,
Yeah,
but yet they want to charge us market-based rates for the energy produced there, and he doesn't think that's right.
and I think they want to hold on to it and, set it aside for the rainy day when they maybe can sell it for more because there's more demand or a need of it.
Well,
And then do
it
we
doesn't
want-
matter what they sell it for, they got it for free.
And then do we want to do a
a
final thought
profit.
saying that there's merger is happening right now?
Mm-hmm.
There's a
Time is
comment
of the
period
essence.
Open until June 5th.
Time is
Yeah,
of
we
the
want
essence.
to-
Please make any comments as soon as possible.
Yeah, right through there into the left.
Well,
A brand new one. No,
There's one over here too.
They would rather you use.
Okay, I've got,
Okay.
emerging data centers which require an exorbitant amount of energy as well as water clearly on the table with this merger. As these data centers emerge, and multiply, energy demands will undoubtedly increase, which will drive rates higher. Will these new businesses pay for their own increased energy, quote, or in parentheses, market-based rates, or will the citizens of Red Lodge, which is rate-based?
Question mark.
Yeah,
Yep.
question mark.
Yep.
Who will
What
pay?
do you think of this sentence right after that? The benefit.
Oh, shit, what'd I do?
You deleted the whole thing?
No. Oops.
This is a low stakes meeting, it's okay.
What did happen?
I don't know.
Go, Jeff, Jeremy.
So right
I
after
don't
that,
usually use it. I
Oh,
got it.
sure, there it is, okay. Read your sentence.
right after that
Right.
sentence,
Yeah.
it's something like this. The benefits of increased demand to investor-based utilities are clear because they can charge more, while the benefits to ratepayers remain unclear.
Oh, that's good. That's really good, yeah.
Okay,
If
Repeat that.
regulatory controls are not.
say it again?
The benefits of increased demand, or the benefits of this increased demand, maybe,
Hmm.
to investor-based utilities
Clear.
are, you could even say abundantly clear. But- while the benefits to ratepayers remain unclear.
Right,
Like, what are we getting out of this?
a data center. So we can use these.
Yeah.
However, the benefits to rate-based,
Yeah, just,
Customers.
Customers.
benefits to customers remain unclear, yep.
have we addressed everything that we need to do for now?
Time is of the essence. The PSC has, already
That is-
closed the hearings and
And that could be
but has
public.
yet to make a decision or something. We still have time to weigh in. I hope.
This is the most timely,
Time is of the essence. Which is why we had a special meeting.
time is the essence.
Right.
Uh,
PSC has yet to make a decision on the merger, right?
As far as I know,
Yeah, yeah, right.
Right. at least publicly.
Where would you go to check something like that? Find out.
The PSC webpage, but they haven't released anything yet that I've seen.
So Bozeman Chronicle, May 21st. Opposing parties present closing arguments on proposed Northwestern merger. It's just because closing
Oh.
arguments have happened, but what about the June 5th?
In this
I haven't
meeting,
found any other
this is where we
confirmation
say
other than this
we-
ABC.
Because I heard that
Recommend-
also, maybe it was this
We
week.
say something, the city council,
I guess I have to subscribe to read that.
or are we just giving them information? Are we making a recommendation for them to do anything?
I think we,
Do we need?
We recommend that
That's the
you
question
take
for
the
you
following.
guys. You can, it could just be informational, and
Okay.
we can decide, yeah, we should write a letter, or you could actually say, we think you should write a letter. Either way, it's up to you.
Oh, okay. So we could just present information and let the
We
council
recommend that
decide.
you take the following,
well, we've got
Comment.
to find something, I've got time is of the essence. The PSC has yet to make a decision on the merger. There's another hearing on this issue on June 5. But we need to get information on how to access that, or where it's gonna be, or is there a Zoom link, or,
I think they gave us the doc number, I think
docket number.
Steve and,
That might be important to include.
Paul gave us the docket number.
And I've looked
Yeah.
on their schedule, and I don't see it on
It might be important to include the docket number.
yeah.
Yeah.
I only
But
saw
we
that news
need
article.
to, how do you do a docket number? I don't know what that is.
No,
It's the PSC has a
Maybe.
docket number.
but I don't know what yours,
Oh, here
what
we
do
go,
you do
wait.
with that?
Is it 2025,
Well,
12,
Go to the PSC
08?
site.
If you contact the
Well, I have
PSC, you refer to the
2025,
docket number so they know
So you
So you could
exactly.
just go to the website
Yeah, that's a
and there's a
different one, I
comment
guess.
thing, or,
Um,
I mean, how would the council
Well,
actually do it?
Yeah,
Hope-
exactly.
Yeah.
We need a
Hope
link or something.
Yeah, we
Well,
need to
let's
make it
see,
easy.
Hope already, hang on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think we have that somewhere. Hang on. He said, this is how you comment, so maybe the city
Okay.
council could do it that way, too. Let's see.
Comments can be submitted.
Okay, it's, to the email to the PSC at pschelp@montana.gov. PSC help,
Is it all capital?
nope, lowercase,
PSC, then what?
HELP, all one word.
Yeah,
at montana.gov, mt.gov, sorry,
MT,
mt.gov.